Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Adult Chair on Rash Pixel FM. I am Michelle Shelpunt. Today, we have a special guest again, someone that's going to help us stay in our adult chair using, which I think is going to be a very, very cool conversation, using essential oils. So we've got a really fun show coming up. Before we go there, you can find out more about the show on theadultchair.com. You can subscribe for free by signing up for our mailing list, or find us anywhere the finest podcasts are served with a quick search for the Adult Chair. You can join the conversation on Facebook or Instagram, and make sure to request to join my Adult Chair private group. It is on Facebook. You do that by going to my website, and you can invite, or you click on the button and it will send me an invite, or that you'd like to get into the group, and then you are welcome to join the group there. And we do a lot in that group, in that closed group. It is really the Adult Chair in action. So come join us there. Lastly, one little tiny bit of business. It is 4 weeks out, you guys. Adult Chair Level 1. So if you really want to take all the knowledge that you gain from the podcast, from the closed group, come join us in Nashville, April 28th and 29th. I'm doing an Adult Chair Level 1 intensive. So it's 9 to 4 on Saturday and Sunday. If you'd like more information and you'd like more, actually, I have an itinerary built into the website. It goes through what we do all day Saturday and all day Sunday, on the 28th and 29th of April. So go check it out and then come join us. It's 4 weeks away. All right. Today we have special guest Annie Waugh. She is based in Nashville, Tennessee, and specializes in NST, which is a technique that integrates both neurological and structural rebalancing of the body. She is also a licensed massage therapist. She has her training in aromatherapy and has used essential oils as part of her practice for over 10 years. Welcome, Annie Waugh.
Thank you so much. It's so great to be here, Michelle.
Yeah, I'm so happy to have you. So I've known Annie for many, many years, and we love to have, first of all, we do a lot of work with and on each other, and we collaborate sometimes even on clients. So it's a lot of fun. But I love going to have a great meal or a coffee with you, because we sit and we talk about all these different holistic kinds of techniques and tools, like essential oils. Yep. And what has occurred to me, and I know we've had many, many conversations about this, is how it's so cool to think about, it's even mentioned in the Bible when Jesus was born, the three wise men brought frankincense and myrrh. Yeah. I mean, it's like oils have been around a long time. Isn't it cool? And the topic of chakras is coming back. I mean, chakras were discovered, even though we've had them, if you're human, you have chakras, 5,000 years ago. Energy medicine is more mainstream. Acupuncture is like cool and hip now. So
yeah, we're kind of finally coming back to the natural stuff that really works.
Finally, right? And clean food and natural health. So that's why, again, today I thought, let's you and I have a conversation about essential oils. I know a lot of people that use essential oils, and you for sure. More than anybody that I know. So, and you use it in your practice, and you have fabulous, fabulous results. And so let's talk just a little bit about essential oils.
Okay. Essential oils they're natural aromatic compounds that are found in plants. And they're basically the protector of the plant. So they're going to be helping to protect the plant from environmental threats, from bacteria, from pests, all sorts of things, disease. And they can actually do the same for us. We're all made to kind of work together with each other here on this planet. So they really are, they're phenomenal. They're basically plant-based medicine, really. And because they're natural, no side effects. So it's incredible how they can really support the body in doing what it already wants to do in healing itself.
So with your clients, so NST stands for, tell me what that stands for.
Okay. And
I always say neurostructural technique, but
it's neurostructural integration technique, but that actually sounds like, I basically try to use the acronym because that sounds like two other massage techniques that are very deep, painful work. One is called neuromuscular and one is called structural integration. And they're both basically like Rolfing. And so what I do is like the polar opposite of that. It's,
Yeah.
as you know, it's very, very gentle, and we're really working very gently with the nervous system to get the nervous system the opportunity to rebalance. And then your body is like all the different parts of you are getting a chance to kind of rebalance themselves and unwind.
Yeah. I mean, I had gone to the chiropractor for almost 20 years and then started seeing you. And I honestly have not been to the chiropractor. I mean, it's amazing to me. And your touch is so light with this technique. But you also use, okay, so with this technique, essential oils.
Yes.
So let's talk about that for the nervous system. People that are stuck in fight or flight, and I know that you use essential oils a lot with people that have experienced trauma and PTSD. And we've talked a lot about that on the show, even in the last few weeks. I did a show on trauma. How do you use these oils with trauma or PTSD? And tell us about the, what's the word I want to use? The results that people have when using these oils.
Okay. Well, I guess I want to explain just a tiny bit about what happens with the oils. So these oils are, like I said, they're natural aromatic compounds. They're volatile, meaning that you put a drop in your hand and all those little molecules kind of explode everywhere. They kind of burst all over the place. Well, they are going to go, we want to use them aromatically so you can smell them. And there's other ways to use them also, but our olfactory receptors that are like in our nose and our sinus cavities and everything, they take those in and they actually go directly into the gray matter of the brain. Everything, like all of our other senses, have to process through the central part of the brain, except our olfactory sense. That actually goes directly into the gray matter of the brain, that one nerve. And so we have an immediate effect throughout the body when we smell something. So we want to make sure that that's really pure, of course, because it's affecting you immediately. But when that happens, there's also a part of the brain called the amygdala, which is where trauma kind of loops and fear, that all of that is happening in the amygdala. And the amygdala has olfactory receptors in it. So, and there are other parts of the body that do as well, but to have the middle of the brainstem, this little guy having those olfactory receptors, that's one of the reasons that aromatherapy is really fantastic for trauma and anxiety and those which, as you've talked about many times, anxiety is the physical response in the body to unfelt emotion. And that's, when we're dealing with trauma, the way I explain it to people is it's anything that your brainstem has perceived as threatening your life, which can be emotional and it can be physical and it can be things that we experience. But when that starts happening, essential oils can be a phenomenal way to help down tune that part of the brain and help you get back into your body, kind of out of your adolescent and back into your adult.
I think that is the coolest thing. And I've had that exact result just by smelling an oil. And I know when I'm with you, sometimes you're like, here, put this oil in the palms of your hands, rub your hands and take a big inhalation. Yeah. And I'm like, whoa, it's like instantaneous.
It is.
I find that fascinating that the olfactory or the nose or smelling it through the nose goes right into the amygdala. So that alone can calm us down just by smelling certain oils.
It absolutely does. The other thing that I walk my clients through is what you taught me about body talk and grounding and getting yourself back into your body. And so I actually will figure out, I use muscle testing, but you can just kind of try different oils. But there are a handful of oils that are particularly great for this and seem to work really well with the amygdala. And so I'll just have my clients use that oil and kind of go through that process of when they feel triggered or when they feel anxious or their mind starts racing or their body starts getting amped up or whatever it is, then to have them sit down, put a drop of that oil into the palm of their hands, just like you said, rub their hands together, cup and inhale, and start going through that process of finding that safe place and feeling in their body, trying to get an experience in their body of what it feels like to be safe, to be calm, to feel supported, whatever it is that they're needing. And without very many attempts at this, your brain just starts associating that oil with your body down tuning. So then you will get to where you just smell the oil and your whole body calms down because it's learned that that's a signal of safety.
You just answered my question. I was like, so does it actually heal the trauma or the PTSD or whatever is happening? But it sounds more like it's not necessarily healing it, but retraining the brain.
It is, it's sort of like with EMDR or some of the different techniques that you and I both have used with clients. It's sort of, the other thing that I say is, okay, well, the trauma, it's like when a computer, you create a file and then your computer has to create a pathway to get to that file. So when they're working with you and we're doing the adult chair work, when we're, doing any of the other kind of modalities, whether it's tapping or, emotion code, Psych-K, all those different things, which I think the adult chair work is it's the most effective thing ever. So we're kind of handling the file. Like we've sort of resolved that file, but the pathway to get to the file may still be there. And so that's what we're kind of helping to sweep away is that pathway to get there. And so it's working on both levels. The oils are really helping the amygdala down tune, and helping your whole body down tune into a happier state, into a more calmer state. And that is also going to facilitate the ability to deal with whatever that trauma trigger is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it definitely does. So would you be able to give us the names of some of the oils that you use to do that, to bring so let's
absolutely. Well, wild orange is probably my first go-to. For most people, that seems to work really, really well. Any of the citrus essential oils are going to be very uplifting to the mood. And so people have called wild orange a natural antidepressant. It definitely, and when I say that, don't jump off meds, anybody. But it will,
please
don't do that. But it will,
but you can use them with meds.
You absolutely can. So as long as you have, we'll talk about essential oil safety here in a minute too, but as long as you've got a really pure, high quality essential oil, you're going to be fine to use that alongside of whatever else you're doing. And there should be no interaction whatsoever. But wild orange is a great one. That tends to work really, really well.
So when you say wild orange, you would use that, you said, for depression, but what about like PTSD or anxiety or trauma things? All of that. You're saying wild orange for all of that. Okay.
Absolutely. Wild orange for all of that. Mm-hmm.
And what about when you say citrus, I'm thinking of like lemon, grapefruit,
right.
Like as good or not as good as wild orange?
Not as good as wild orange for whatever reason. There's different chemical constituents in all of these different citrus oils. Actually, every single essential oil is going to have different chemical constituents in them. And so, in fact, I just had somebody on Facebook ask me the other day, hey, can I use tangerine essential oil the way that I use wild orange? And I had to say no, because the chemical constituents of those two essential oils are actually very different. So are they both uplifting to the mood? Absolutely. And tangerine would be one that is it's much more helpful for like impulse control. And overthinking and that sort of thing. Whereas wild orange that one works really well with the amygdala for some reason.
Wild orange specifically.
So the ones that I'm going to touch on here initially are the ones that are my go-tos for doing anything involving that stress response, that fight or flight looping in the body, which is we're trying to work with the amygdala for that. So
yeah, and you've done this over 10 years. Obviously, you have a lot of experience and seen clients immediately have a shift. I know I have, and I do love wild orange. Let me ask you a question though, just on a side note.
Yeah.
So we talked about putting the oil in the palm of the hand, rubbing the hands, cupping the hands, and inhaling. What about diffusing?
Oh, absolutely. Diffusing is
same thing, right?
Yes, definitely. So the reason I'm talking about, palm of the hands is I'll give these tiny little like quarter dram vials of these oils as samples to my clients so that they have a little bitty container that they can keep in their pocket so that as they're going throughout their day, because I do work with a lot of people who are in recovery with, from PTSD. So they're kind of they may experience triggers unexpectedly. So that's why I love them being able to have it in their pocket and be able to use it at any moment they need it. But diffusing is absolutely another great way to use essential oils.
So can we overuse? Can we hurt ourselves by inhaling too much, diffusing too much? I hope you're going to say no.
No.
I'm a diffusaholic.
Yes, I know. Me too. Me too. Well,
I have 2 diffusers going all the time as well as in the office. So
yes. And
so please tell me that I can't hurt myself by over diffusing.
You know what? As long as you're using really pure oils, and I know that you are, they're safe to diffuse. Now, can you overwhelm your body by putting too many oils on your body at once? Yeah, you sure can. But it's not gonna, if they're pure oils, they're not going to hurt you, but you're going to probably not experience a whole lot of benefits. Your body's going to just go, okay, time out. I'm like not even taking this in anymore.
And I feel like I'm going off topic, which I promise you guys are going to come back because I want you to list some of the top oils for different ways that we can get ourselves back to balance emotionally and get back in the adult chair.
Yes.
But you mentioned putting them on the body. So so someone that has, again, anxiety, depression, PTSD is the best way. And what I'm hearing you say is when someone, and I know like I carry oil in my purse. So, and I heard you say people carry it in their pocket. So if they're having, and I don't know what other word to call it, like an episode or a flashback or anything, or they're starting to experience anxiety, they can pull it out, put it in their hands and cup their hands, or we can diffuse. You mentioned putting it in the body. I know we can also ingest oils.
Yes.
Again, I feel like this is going to be a 3-hour podcast, which it won't be, but we could go on and on about like, where do we put these oils? So again, I really want to break it down for people because my job, I think, with this podcast is help people get back in your adult chair. And these oils are phenomenal. It's a phenomenal way to get you back in the present moment, to get you out of that adolescent, which is the part of that is the amygdala firing and going nuts and putting us in fight or flight. So really break it down. We can diffuse the oils. We can cup the oils or put the oil in the hand.
Yep.
What about if we have anxiety, PTSD? Would we ingest certain, like the wild orange or some of these citrus or no? Like put them in the...
You absolutely can. What I would say is there should be the only oils that you should actually use internally will have on the bottle it'll say supplement fact. Like you would see on the side of like on any like food that you bought. Boxed food or, anything that has a label on it will say supplement facts. There will be a little box like that on the bottle that will tell you that it's safe to use internally. So wild orange.
Because there are some that we can put right on our tongue or right in the mouth, and others they say, put in a capsule.
Right. So, exactly. So wild orange is one, like I'll put that in sparkling water. I'll put it, I love it that way in regular water. You can add it, you can cook with it. You can do all kinds of things with wild orange. It's fantastic. The other thing to do too, you can put some, if you want to kind of keep smelling it, is just put it straight on your chest, like on your sternum. So you can keep smelling it. Now there are other oils, that you may want to, so wild orange is one. So lemongrass would be my number 2 pick. I love
that one too.
And lemongrass. So when I do, and I work with combat veterans, and for whatever reason, that seems to be sort of the heavy hitter for that group. And I'm not really sure why, but that seems to do better for them than the wild orange. But some really like the wild orange. It really depends on the person and the experience. But that's another one that's fantastic. So some people like the taste of lemongrass, and you find that in a lot of like Asian cooking and stuff. So that's another one that, again, if it's a good oil, good company, then you can use it internally. But that one, I would say, put that again on the chest. You can smell it in your hands. The other place that you can use oils too for this specific thing is the back of the neck, like right where your head and neck meet.
Yes.
Because we've got a lot of great, circulation and innervation there that's close to the surface of the skin. So that's a great place to use oils specifically for that. And putting oils on the soles of your feet is another great way. You'll hear most people in the essential oil communities, who use essential oils, are going to tell you to put them on the soles of your feet. The reason for that, and it's fantastic, the reason for that is the pores are larger on the soles of your feet, and you can really get them into your bloodstream quickly that way. But for the purpose of using them for what we're talking about, I usually want people to be smelling them or having them go into the skin where they're closer to the brain there. So that's the reason that I'm telling you to use them kind of up around your face more. But vetiver is another one, and that's a root. And that one is not one that you're going to ingest necessarily. So that one, I would say you can smell that one. Again, put it on the back of the neck. That's usually where I direct people to put vetiver. And that one that's a great one for both anxiety, PTSD, also brain racing, like ADD, ADHD, and that sort of thing. That vetiver is phenomenal for that.
That just helps to slow the brain down.
It does. It's really, it's a tonic. It has a tonic effect.
That one does not smell very good, but I know it's powerful. I mean,
it doesn't. I know it's really earthy,
and that's yeah. It's good for grounding though, and sleep.
It really is.
I know that you told me about that, to sleep better at night. Okay, so I just want to review because we're kind of going all over the place. So for PTSD and trauma, wild
orange, lemongrass. There's a few.
Give us all the one. Let's break this down for people. We've got PTSD or trauma, wild orange, lemongrass. What else? Give us the top 4, I would say, for those.
Okay. So vetiver and frankincense. Frankincense is that's sort of the Mac Daddy of all the oils.
Yeah, it is. Okay. So those 4 are great for PTSD and trauma.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Let's move over to anxiety. And would you treat anxiety similarly to depression, or should we break those into separate categories?
No, you know what? I actually put all of this together. When I'm with essential oils, the way I'm using essential oils, these are my same recommendations for anxiety.
Okay. So we've got wild orange, lemongrass, vetiver.
Yep.
And frankincense. Okay.
And frankincense. There's one. Can I add one more?
Sure.
Cedarwood.
Oh, yeah. Good grounding one.
Cedarwood is really, really helpful to rebalancing low GABA levels.
Okay. So you're mentioning these top 4 or 5. So let's be clear. PTSD, trauma, and you said anxiety. Would you add depression in that category for these oils, or would you change it up a little bit?
I would actually.
You would change it up a little bit?
I'm sorry. I would use these oils for depression as well.
You would. Okay. So we're going to add that. So all of these oils are good. So, but one is not better for, let's say, depression, because you gave us 5 oils. So would you recommend like diffusing one at a time, putting them all in the diffuser and diffusing them all together? Or tell us like what's better to do what with? Like, is it better to put wild orange on the body and diffuse vetiver, or really break it down for us?
Okay. So if you've got depression, if you're dealing with, depression, anxiety, and a lot of times I know, and you can speak to this more clearly, but I know a couple of people who were dealing with something that was more like a cycling anxiety depression, where it could have been misdiagnosed as bipolar, but it wasn't. And so, I can't get into bipolar, but I guess I wanted to just mention that because I think that from what I've been hearing with people coming into my office, that's a thing. And so, but what I would say is anybody with depression, I'm going to go for wild orange first, because it's got that uplifting effect. Okay. So that's the one I would want to try for depression initially.
Does the wild orange boost the neurotransmitters at all?
That's a great question. I will find out the answer for that. I don't know.
I was just curious. About oils with, with neurotransmitters.
Yeah. Well, I know for sure that, vetiver is really soothing to neurotransmitter activity.
Okay.
Because it can get really like popcorn. So vetiver is real soothing to that. So some of these other oils are very soothing. So when we've got the oils, like vetiver is a root, cedarwood is coming from the wood of that tree. Those things are going to be more grounding. And anything that's growing higher up off of the ground is going to be more uplifting to the mood. So that's sort of an across the board thing with essential oils that might be helpful to know for people. I think any of the citrus essential oils are going to be really uplifting. But for whatever reason, it's the chemical constituents of wild orange in particular are really, really great for depression, and they're great to work with the amygdala both. So that's why that's my number one oil to try with pretty much everybody off the bat. And then we go from there depending on what their needs are. So,
okay. I just Googled this. So I'm just going to tell you what I found.
Oh,
it's all over the internet. It says, and you're right. I have to say A++ for you. Most notably, inhalation of essential oils can communicate signals to the olfactory system and stimulate the brain to exert neurotransmitters. Example, serotonin and dopamine, thereby further regulating mood. The citrus oil has been most widely researched for mood effects in humans.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Tisserand. I don't know who that is. You know who that is?
Right on, Richard. I don't.
But it's not, So it does affect. I love that. So what about somebody that's just dealing with like lack of confidence, let's say, or lack of feeling empowered? Is there any oil that would help with that?
Yes. The go-to, and this is interesting, it's another citrus oil that we don't all hear about here in the States because it's actually mostly grown in Italy. I think it's indigenous to Italy, is bergamot. And that one, it's very specific. So every essential oil has a very specific emotional rebalancing component to it. So bergamot is specific to self-confidence. And
really?
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. Okay. It's really lovely. It smells. I love it. There's actually a couple of different, I had a hand soap that I got from somewhere years and years ago before I knew about like artificial essential oils. But it smelled, it was like a lemon. It was supposed to be a lemon smell, but it was an Italian thing and it was bergamot. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really, it's a beautiful scent. And I use it. I recommend that one a lot for the self-confidence issue and for feeling, trying to be more connected.
So what about somebody that's feeling like, oh my God, a panic attack is coming on. What do I need to do?
That I'm going to go, my go-tos for that are going to be frankincense or lemongrass.
And that would be one that as you're feeling the panic come on, you want to cup it in your hand, put it in your hand and smell it, correct?
Absolutely. And if it's hitting you so fast that you can't even get the drop out of the bottle, just take that lid off and start inhaling it.
What about balancing hormones? Because that's so emotional. That's not only physical, that's emotional. So what do you think?
It absolutely is. So I've had huge success with using essential oils for hormone balance. But only with this one particular blend, I have to say. So there are very specific essential oils that signal specific hormones. And what that means is it's showing your body information and your body goes, oh, okay, I need to bring this level up or I need to bring this level down. So for example, clary sage is the essential oil that signals estrogen. So if you've got too much estrogen in your body or you've got the xenoestrogens, like the bully guys that are not good, then clary sage will actually tell your body, it'll help your body to rebalance that back to a lower level or to where it should be. And if you are deficient, if you don't have enough estrogen, you would use clary sage. And so the same oil is going to help your body to bring it. So it's all about bringing things back to balance. And that's the thing that essential oils do, along with other really natural remedies like homeopathy and things like that. We're actually just giving the body something it needs to bring something back to balance. So it's not forcing a reaction. You're not forcing anything to happen. Sandalwood would be the testosterone signaling oil, as I understand it. And there's a blend. So we've got, so we have more hormones than just that. So the company, I have used a lot of different types of essential oils from different companies over the years and done a lot of research because I had to find something that I knew was absolutely safe, absolutely pure and consistent every time you bought a bottle. It was the same thing in every bottle. So the company that I chose to go with as a practitioner is called doTERRA, and they have an essential oil blend called Clary Calm, and it's the women's monthly blend, and it is absolutely phenomenal for hormone balancing. So that one, I will, like when I started having hormone headaches, that nothing else would help. Advil didn't help, like nothing worked. I put some of that on the back of my neck and like within 10 minutes, that headache was gone.
Wow.
So that one that's just an extraordinary blend. And I wish I could say, oh, use this many drops of this and this many drops of this. I don't know. I just know that blend is the best thing I've come across personally. I know different companies have different blends for different things. That's just the one that I'm familiar with that I can tell you about straight off the bat.
And that's a really good point that you brought up. And this is, by the way, I just want to, as a disclosure, we're not trying to sell anybody an MLM or anything like that. But I think it's really important that you mention this because I do know some about this as well. You obviously know a lot more about it, but there are a lot of essential oil companies that do not have pure oils. So to go to CVS and buy an oil, I don't even know if they sell them at CVS, or just to go buy one off the shelf, sometimes, I mean, you have to really do research. As far as making sure you're buying clean oils, tell us a little bit about we should be wary because we're inhaling sometimes this crap or pesticides or whatever that's in the air. If we're gonna let's say grab the wild orange, we want to make sure that it's pure. Absolutely. Yeah. So tell us about that just a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. So just really quickly. So, most fragrances, there's a lot of different types of fragrance out there. So like the candles and the body shops and the things like that, like Bath and Body Shops that you go past and there's all this fragrance. Those are petrochemical based fragrances. So
what does that mean?
What that means is that they're chemical fragrances. They're made in a lab and they're made to mimic these plants. They're made to mimic essential oils, but they're not actually essential oils. And so the molecules are not the same. They're larger. And they actually, when we inhale too much of that will clog those olfactory receptors. And that can cause depression and anxiety, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm. So I get bad headaches if I've just gone to TJ Maxx, let's say, and bought some candles and the smelly, lovely vanilla flavored or whatever flavored candles. And I've noticed when I burn those, I get a headache instantly.
Oh yeah.
It makes me nauseous. And now I'm really paying attention to what I'm burning. And I'm like, I can't burn anything with all those. I don't want chemicals in the air, right. And I certainly don't want them in my body and
absolutely, yeah,
in my lungs.
My daughter told me about she went into a classroom and someone had given the teacher a gift of like a Scentsy candle thing. I was like, I guess it melts or whatever. And she said they were all getting headaches, but the teacher was on her desk. She said, Mom, it was scary. She literally started zoning out. It was like she wasn't.
Oh, wow.
It was scary. They had to get the stuff out of the room so anyway,
wow.
those things can be dangerous. And so, with right now, there's no real regulation, on the essential oil industry. So what that means is at this moment, people can put these companies, they can label their bottles 100% pure therapeutic. They can label whatever they want. And it only has to have 3% of an essential oil in the bottle.
Oh, wow.
That's
even though it says 100%. Yeah, that's
exactly.
really.
They're allowed to say whatever they want. Now, the other thing to know is that even something that says USDA certified organic, the USDA certified organic allows for 10% pesticide, fungicide, herbicide, whatever.
Ooh.
Okay.
What?
So, yeah. Anything that you buy that's USDA certified organic is still allowed to have. So even if you've got something that says that is still not pure. Which is why I chose the company I did, because they allow 0% of anything in those bottles. So that's why it is really important to research. I don't know of anything you can buy off a shelf that is safe at this moment. So that's why I'm using what I am. But again, it is really important because if you think about, if someone has a pesticide sprayed, even if it's sort of from a separate field and some gets on these leaves, we're talking about hundreds of pounds of flowers or leaves that get distilled down into one bottle of essential oil. So that level of concentration, and there's a pesticide in it, that could be really harmful. I actually know 2 different people who live in 2 different states who bought a bottle of lavender from Whole Foods and ended up in the ER.
Wow.
One just diffused it and she started getting sick. And then the other one had it on her skin and her heart went racing out of control. So so it was, you really do have to be very careful about what you're buying.
You want to make sure that you're doing your research.
Just do your research. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm not
for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So, but using these oils that are pure, it's just incredible how much they really help and support the body in rebalancing and healing.
What about, you mentioned lavender, and I right away started thinking about sleep.
Yes.
Give us some oils that we can use if we're having trouble sleeping at night.
Okay. So lavender and vetiver are both going to be really, really great for that. There are some good blends out there as well. So like the company that I use, there's a blend called Serenity that is really fantastic. And that's a combination of, there's lavender, vetiver, cedarwood, sandalwood, hoe wood. So hear all those woods. Wow. That's
all the grounding.
All the grounding. Yeah, exactly. And so like I talked about vetiver being really, really, it's like a tonic for the nerves too. So that one, frankincense, that's also very calming. And it's interesting, people will have different symptoms for things, and then different oils will work for different people. So like, for example, for headaches, a lot of people love to use lavender or peppermint or something. And those can be really great for getting rid of a headache. For me, those two oils don't work at all. Frankincense works like a charm for me every time for a headache, and cypress. So my headaches, if I tend to get them, will be more vascular and not really like muscle tension.
Right.
So you're really using an oil to address the root cause of whatever the symptom is. If that,
I like that. Yeah. And peppermint, I know.
Oh, love peppermint.
I know when I have neck aches or back aches or something like that, you have given, and now I've bought many bottles of it. The peppermint oil is fantastic for my neck aches or, sore back or sore muscles. It
sure is. And you know what? Peppermint, gosh, there's so many uses for each oil. I use peppermint every day. And that's great for mental clarity too. And
I was just going to say,
digestive comfort and a lot of, there's so many things that you could use that for.
I diffuse that, in the morning. Actually, I diffuse that just to get me like up and like really thinking through what I need to do for the day and get creative. That oil is awesome.
Yes, I love it too.
Something that you have experience with, I just want to end with this last one, but did you ever use the oils with autism?
Yes.
Or Asperger's? Tell us just a little bit about that.
Yeah. Okay. So any of the spectrum disorders are going to be, we're really, it's neurological that we're looking at. And again, there can be a component of, my son had an injury. He had a pharmaceutical brain injury. And so it was a combination. It was sort of a perfect storm for him. But we, there was a bit of a disposition, genetically. And the way that I understand all of that now through research is that, those things, if you're genetically predisposed to something, you can sort of turn it on and you can turn it off. And it's about usually kind of overburden in some part of you, whether it's chemical toxicity or it's emotional stuff or stress or whatever. It's usually a combination of all those things that will actually turn that on. And so then we just need to remove the burden and the restriction and the whatever it is, and then the body can turn that back off again and heal. So there was a specific group of oils that a bunch of us in the autism community were using and still do actually. And so vetiver is number one on that list, along with frankincense, and clary sage. There's usually some hormone imbalance that's going along with all of that for most of the spectrum disorders. And so, let's see, and lavender and Roman chamomile. So those are all, very calming and grounding, and soothing.
Speaking of that, I know I said that was the last one. I have one more I want to ask you about. What would people, again, this should be a 4-hour podcast, but, what would people use if they're kind of stuck in grief or really, experiencing a lot of grief or separation or anything?
The heart-based oils, I think, and of course, I'm saying this is like chakra related as well, but geranium is a really beautiful, and rose is extremely expensive, but worth it. But geranium would probably be my number one go-to for grief. And then, frankincense, again, that there's a reason it's called the king of essential oils because it's when in doubt, grab your frankincense. If you're not sure what to use, grab that one. But I would say geranium would be my number one go-to for grief. And then anything else that is calming to that person. So, whatever is soothing to them. So that could be a citrus oil. It could be like lavender or petitgrain or something that's going to be, or chamomile, something that's going to be really calming and soothing that way. It could be something that's grounding. And you probably know, as far as you have a better grid for experience with people dealing with, who are navigating grief than I do, with what you do.
Well, I think that sometimes we get stuck in our grief. So I was thinking maybe an essential oil would help people. And what really resonates with me is that geranium is like so lovely, and rose, of course, but it just really puts us in the fourth chakra, in the heart center. And like that would be I would think it would help us to feel more of the grief and help us to go to the next stage.
Definitely.
So I love those two really hit
awesome.
my heart.
Yeah, I think great. It really is like, as you were saying, it's about reconnecting, because we want to shut down. We don't want to feel those uncomfortable emotions, and
so of course we shut that fourth chakra down, and those probably, it sounds like, open up the fourth chakra and help us to process
they
emotions.
Really do. And they're so gentle. So.
And the last oil I'm just going to mention, I could do a commercial on television for this oil if you buy the doTERRA oils, because I understand it's only through doTERRA. But if you fear germs or illness or anything like that, you know how many bottles of On Guard? It's called On Guard. Oh, yeah. And I'm telling you, all last year, I diffused this in 2 rooms in my house at home, and one I always have it on in the office. Most of the year, but specifically from fall until the end of spring, I do not get sick.
It's amazing.
Like Thanksgiving or Christmas. I can't remember which one it was. I had a bunch of family that had come into town, and I'm telling you, like, so many people that came to my house to stay were really sick, like blowing of the nose, some terrible virus. I'm like, oh my God, so I've got that On Guard diffusing, which kills germs and viruses and illnesses. I did not get sick. I really, and knock on wood, I really feel like it's from On Guard. What the heck is in On Guard that makes it so great?
That is amazing. It's, what, I think every essential oil company has a blend of these oils of their own. So what it is it's eucalyptus, rosemary, clove, and cinnamon, and wild orange. And so the original blend, this literally came from the bubonic plague. Was when this started.
Really?
Yeah, it was because there were, they had to close off trade to Europe when that hit because they didn't want it spreading globally. And so then, like, the spice traders and the perfumers who were coming in from India to sell things and buy, whatever, make their money, they couldn't anymore. So, but they had all these essential oils on them. And so they started robbing the bodies of the dead and dying, and they weren't catching the plague because of the oils they had on them. And so when they were eventually caught and brought before the authorities, and they were told, okay, we'll give you a more lenient sentence if you will tell us how in the world are you not sick and dying right now. And so they said, well, this is what our trade is, and we know how to use these herbs and these oils. And so that was what they were using. So that recipe is very, very old. And then the wild orange, a lot of companies will add a citrus essential oil to it because citrus will help your lymphatic system, which is your body's trash can, to kind of get itself flushing out. And so there's wild orange in On Guard. The other interesting thing emotionally about On Guard is it's really such a great oil, even emotionally, for you to be diffusing in your office because it's got the wild orange. That whole blend is actually kind of soothing to the body for fear. And so because of the different oils in it, and it's helping very specific functions in different organs and systems and all of that. So it's a heck of a blend. It's really wonderful.
I mean, it's truly my favorite one of everything. And I honestly diffuse it. I still do. I do it all the time because, and I don't get sick.
I do too,
and I do. So it's in my office. So
yep, we love that one. My kids don't get sick if they They just, and of course, I've got people coming into my office sick sometimes, and so I just I keep it on I put it on my chest. I put it on the soles of my feet. Specifically if it's during the season where things are going around and I know people are coming in with, and they seem sniffly or whatever, when they walk in the door, I grab my On Guard and I put it on my chest so that I keep breathing it.
Oh, that's a good idea. I also like the new bracelets they have. You can drop the essential oil in there. So
yes, somebody gave me some as a birthday gift. I just love them. Yeah, you can put your little oils on those. Oh,
it's I smell it then the whole day. So it's kind of cool. But I, of course, putting it on the body is best, but I like the bracelets too.
Yeah.
Okay, Annie.
Okay.
All right, so for people that might want to, I don't know, do you do consults over the phone or Skype if people that are not in Nashville that might want more information on essential oils or what do
absolutely.
You tell us how people can find you.
Okay, so you can go to my website, which is AnnieWaugh.com. It's ANNIEWAUGH.com. As you know, I got married January 1st. So my last name is changing, but for now, I think the website will stay the same. But anyway, you can find me there. On the contact page is a online scheduling. So if you just want to touch base and see what you should schedule with me, you can schedule a 15-minute free phone consultation. And then I do sessions for people over the phone as well for consultations or doing body code, emotion code, that sort of thing as well. So I am available for phone sessions and all of that. You can schedule all of that on there.
And anything else you want to tell people about you? Do you have any classes coming up or anything like that?
I sure do. I have a workshop coming up. If you are in the Nashville area or can come into the Nashville area on April 14th. It's a Saturday. I'm very excited. It's a one-day workshop. And it's just called Discovering Balance. And it's a practical reset for reclaiming your life. So it'll be sort of a mini retreat just to go over kind of the different components of the human person of what makes us up and practical ways that you can actually kind of bring some balance back into your life in a sustainable way. So
I love it.
And Michelle is going to actually be there to give a little overview of the adult chair. I recommend you to all of my clients. I'm constantly passing out your cards. I'm like, you've got to get on her website and listen to her podcast and the meditations and all of that. So,
thank you.
I'm hoping to get your workshop at the end of the month filled up as well, because it's just absolutely crucial work. And that is something I can just mention quickly. I lived with PTSD for 20 years and didn't know that was what was going on. And Michelle's work was absolutely the most pivotal thing in my recovery of anything that I have used was the chair work. So thank you, my beloved friend.
Wow. I don't think I knew that. That's amazing.
Oh gosh.
That's really incredible.
Well, I'm so sorry I didn't make that clearer, but I tell everybody about it. So
crazy.
Yeah.
AnnieWaugh.com, WAUGH, and that's ANNIE, AnnieWaugh.com. Go check her out. And thank you, Annie. Again, a wealth of information. I really appreciate all your knowledge. And
thank you so much for having me. It's always a delight.
Thank you. Okay, so for listeners of The Adult Chair, Audible is offering a free audiobook download of your choice with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out the service. So today I want to recommend, and I did consult with Annie on this, and we both agree this is a great book. It's called The Healing Power of Essential Oils by Dr. Eric Zielinski, and that's Zielinski. Fabulous, fabulous book if you want to learn more about essential oils and have a book in your hands. So then you can actually refer back to which oil to use and when to use it, et cetera, et cetera. So if you'd like to try that book, again, do it for free through Audible. So audibletrial.com/The Adult Chair will get you this book for free. And it will start your 30-day free trial. So go ahead and go get that audiobook. So Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to this show. Really appreciate you showing up again, and for all of your support and for all of those beautiful iTunes ratings and reviews that you guys are giving the show. I really, really appreciate it. It does help other people find us. So I will see you guys all next week, seated firmly in the adult chair.